I'd like to call to order the regular monthly meeting, South Union Township Board of Supervisors. We'll start the meeting with opening prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the roll call, Mr. Schiffauer,
Present.
Mr. Vernon,
Here.
and Mr. Scott here. Number 5, the Roadmasters Report for the month of March. During the month of March, we hauled compost 15 days. We are having our code officer watch the compost as we did last spring. We seem to be getting compost from everywhere again, so we're going to have our code officer asking for IDs. And if you get paid to pick up yard waste, then you have to pay to get rid of the yard waste. We have probably a half a dozen licensed landscapers that pay to dump the waste here. So it's not fair to them that, if you're picking up yard waste for someone and getting paid for it, then you have to pay us to take it, because we have costs that we have to take it down, grind it, and the necessary procedures. So just keep that in mind, that we are going to be stopping you. So if it's not your own compost, then you can't bring it into the site unless you pay us.
We charge $1,000 a year is what the fee is.
Right, and that's for the whole season. And like I said, we have, half a dozen that pay, probably, that, do pay the fee and do it. So it's not fair to them. But just keep in mind that we will be checking IDs. The sweeper truck, we ran 14 days in the month of March. We didn't have a real bad winter. And without the gravel, the cleanup was definitely a lot better. We have most streets at least done. There'll still be some pickup when it rains, and we will be back around to pick that up. But I think for the 1st of April, it looks pretty good out there. We did call back our summer employees. They've been getting our parks cleaned up. All the winter debris and stuff, they got cleaned up. I know Hutchinson and Orford both look really good. The couple small parks they're working on now to get cleaned up. We had some new fence installed that was damaged, so the parks are definitely getting cleaned up. We did patch about 8 days, just with coal patch. The asphalt plant is open now, so if your curbs I know we were getting a lot of calls about curbs. The asphalt plant is open, so probably if the weather straightens up starting next week, we will be replacing the curbs that were tore out. We got a lot of work done on the plow trucks in the month of March. Everything's back in running condition. We repaired yards that were damaged from the winter. We got most of those done. There's still a couple that we have to do, but if you do see something, feel free to give us a call if we're not there in the next couple weeks, because we might have missed something. That's all I have for the month of March. Gentlemen, you have anything else?
Did you mention the work that you were in charge of up at Meadowbrook, the ball field?
No.
Well, I'll mention it for you, okay? Jason, in his youth and exuberance for children, has done a lot of work at the park that we have at Meadowbrook. And we've installed dugouts, fencing, outfield fencing, and upgraded the infield. And that's where maybe they'll elaborate a little bit more specifics, but the younger kids, they'll be playing and utilizing that facility. And there's some also other work that was done, removing some trees, and it sure looks real nice. And you and the crews be commended on it, Jason.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we have about 70 more children playing youth ball at Hark this year, so we needed to use that field a lot more than before. So we had some nice weather in March, and we did get in there and cut a new infield, put some dugouts in, like Mr. Schiffauer had said. And so trying to keep the youth busy, and I was real happy with the numbers. I mean, to go up 70 kids in 1 year is a pretty good climb. So hopefully we can keep them around. But I appreciate it. Anything else, Mr. Byrne?
You have it covered well.
Moving on, number 6 on the agenda, Code Officer Report, Mr. Vernon.
Thank you, Chairman. For the month of March, our South Union Township Code Enforcement Report is as follows. Letters for property repairs, we had 17 letters go out. Junk vehicles, we had 3. Dog complaints, we had 3. 1 burning complaint. I remember this is time of season for burning. 8 to 5 on Saturdays only, and there must be a controlled fire. That means you have to sometimes be there watching it. We had 4 quad complaints. Now we had a total of 80 delinquent garbage account letters sent out. Let me remind the residents, we only have to pay $9.48 a month, and we have 80 people that owe over $100. Some of them owe $300. Their advance disposal is required to pick up your garbage, and it's our responsibility after $100 to write a citation against you. We try to send out a courtesy letter first, and we'll work with you if we can. If not, then a citation will be filed in District Judge Jen Jeffrey's office. We also had 13 citations issued. Some of them were for garbage. 10 zoning violation citations issued. And again, we have a code officer who works, one works full-time from 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. The other one works 8 to 5, 4 days a week for us. And then we have 4 part-time officers who work in the evenings and also on Saturdays and Sundays. The part-time officers travel 1,913 miles throughout the township. Our local, that's counting our full-time and part-time and daytime, travel 1,620 miles for a total of 3,533 miles traveled throughout the township. They also issued 6 fire lane tickets and 6 handicap tickets for the month of March. Again, we're going to request you that you please, if you get other letter for garbage, contact us or contact Advanced Disposal as soon as possible. That should cover everything I have. Anything else?
Anything else, Mr. Schiffauer?
Nothing?
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Sure. Number 7 on the agenda, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll move it to approve the minutes.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion and proper second on the roll call. Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 8, comments on the agenda items. Does anyone have any comments on the agenda items?
Actually, Bernie Court, the minutes of the previous meeting, are they published somewhere?
Yeah, we have copies. I believe they're in the office. We anytime you want. Yeah, we can.
You can read our book. We have a minute book.
Okay.
We keep a monthly, our minute book.
All right, so this is the last meeting, so I don't know the minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any chance they could be put on the website?
I think you asked that before, and I did talk to our IT guy about doing that, so we're going to try to get that
Okay.
up and running.
I know you can go and watch the recording. on
Yeah,
TV,
we have
but
the
you should just look at the minutes and see,
Right.
all right, this is what transpired.
right. Yeah,
Anyway, just to
we could do that.
Fine.
Yes, no problem. Anything else? Thank you. Number 9, update on the Sheepskin Trail. Mr. Schiffauer.
Yes, matter of fact, today we received the packet of information that outlines all the rules and regulations and the permits that we'll have to attain before the project can move forward. I did meet with our engineer from K2 Engineering that's preparing the plans, the bid specs and all that. That's going to take at least several weeks. We're still pretty much on schedule as far as starting the actual physical part or aspects of the project and beginning work. And we're certainly looking forward and still shooting for the target of completion sometime before the end of the summer. But just one other thing I want to mention in regards to Sheepskin Trail, beyond the borders of South Union Township, in communicating with the Fayette County Commissioners, I know I met with them, Donna Holder from the National Roads Heritage Corridor, the Executive Director, and Mr. Mattis from DCNR. And one of the main points that we talked about, the topic was the possibility of the County Commissioners forming a Sheepskin Trail Authority. There is not a very pleasant history as far as what has taken place up to date with the Sheepskin Trail, and given the emphasis is being placed on the state various departments and agencies of prioritizing trails, especially the Sheepskin Trail. I've got the feedback from the commissioners they are certainly going to take a big step forward in realigning their commitment to the Sheepskin Trail project. And I think they're looking at the formation of the authority very seriously. There is a peer group study that the commissioners can apply for. It's a $10,000 grant from DCNR. And what that will do, that'll look into all the aspects and the ramifications of forming an authority, and whether that would be the best route. I know, in my opinion, I think that is the only route. But also, in addition to determining whether it should be done, it will help actually set or make a format in which the authority would follow in forming and setting up, determining certain goals and aspects of the Sheepskin Trail project. So very encouraged by the commissioners. All three of them met. We had approximately an hour-and-a-half meeting, and things are starting to move forward, looking to be taking positive steps, and that's what we have to do. There's a long way to go before we see this thing happen. It's certainly happening here in South Union Township, and there's no reason if we all work together and have the commitment from the community, all aspects of the community. I think someday that we'll have that completed trail hooking up the Great Allegheny Passageway with the West Virginia system of trails in the Morgantown area. So that's my report as far as what's going on with the Sheepskin Trail.
Thank you, Mr. Shipper. Mr. Vernon, do you have anything?
I have to say that Mr. Shipper has put a lot of long hours and also walking hours going through the different parks and the trails, trying to get some updates for us.
Yeah, I walked the one section, the only section that's been completed from Dunbar to Gonsville yesterday, and if I appear to be a little tired, I am. It was almost like a 5-mile walk, but that will still give us 29 more miles we need to construct before it's completed.
Right. And if the trail, not if, when it is completed, it will definitely be because of your leadership on this. I mean, you've contacted everyone in the area and done an unbelievable job at just getting people fired up about it. So I think once we start, I think it'll just it'll follow. But it's definitely because of your hard work. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And just one thing, Mr. Mattis from the DCNR, he was very pleased to see the participation on the scale that the commissioners put forth in our meeting last week. So that's a good sign. But we are trying to get the other municipality, other supervisors, particularly the townships in which the trail is proposed to run. It's very important that we get them on board and help try and promote the Sheepskin Trail. The benefits that could be derived from completed trail from Connersville to Morgantown would be tremendous boost our economy. I don't think enough people realize that, but I think as time goes on and we educate the public as to the benefits of the Sheepskin Trail project, I think that there will be the participation that we need to get this thing done.
Thank you.
I have one question. I've heard us talk about the money and grants that we've gotten in South Union Township. Is North Union proceeding with their?
No, they're not as far at this point.
Well, it's a little premature. This is why I believe that it's imperative that the county form the authority.
Okay.
That will allow these municipalities, and quite frankly, most of the municipalities lack the financial capabilities to do the dollar-for-dollar match, and that's a problem. But I think with an authority and with the lead from the county, it will make it a lot easier for these other municipalities that would have second thoughts about taking this on themselves. So, like I said, it's a little bit premature to actually determine right now to say what the other municipalities are going to do. Fortunately, we're ahead of the game. But the other municipalities, we have to be fair to them and make sure that they have a good understanding what's involved. And I'm sure once they see the benefits that they'll be more than willing to cooperate.
Okay. So end of the summer, we'll have the South Union section done. There's the 2 or 3 or 4 miles in Dunbar.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a gap through North Union.
Yeah, well, North Union and the remainder of Dunbar Township as well.
Oh, that's right, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, number 10 on the agenda, the sewage department report. During the month of March, I had mentioned in February that we were working on the GIS, which is locating all the manholes, and we have a better reference of our system. When I first started, I asked how many manholes we approximately had in the township, and I was told between 1,450 and 1,475. Well, to date, we're about 96% complete, and we have 1,560 already on the map, with 100 additional that were found and aren't on the map. So, I mean, I think we're going to be upwards of probably close to 1,800 manholes when we're complete. So this definitely was something that needed to be done years ago. Like I said, we're 96% complete. I'm hoping by the end of May that we have all manholes located and they're all on the map, which is going to be so much better for development. And if there's a problem with the lines, we'll know exactly what to do. I mean, probably be able to look it up on an iPad and just be able to see where our lines are. But they're working hard on that, and we're moving forward. A couple other things that we're working on. I don't want to get into everything, but the EDUs are always a problem. That's the split between North Union, South Union, and the city of Uniontown. We pay the grader through our EDU count, and based on the EDU counts from looking back at the 3 to 4 year, North Union and South Union are always pretty persistent on our EDU counts. The city uses a different software than we use, and their counts are up and down on the EDUs. So they just agreed last month to purchase the same software that we have. So I think that's going to be a step in the right direction, because we were almost to the point where the grader was going to have to make the plant bigger to handle because of these EDU accounts, and we had some other issues that were going on. But a lot's happened in the past 3 months, and we are getting straightened around. And the plant, we had a consent order from DEP that was lifted during the last month, which that's been on for, I think, close to 9 years. So we're definitely making progress, not only in South Union Township, but also in the North Union and the city. Other things, we had 181 calls at our guys. We have 2 guys full-time out in the field and 2 ladies in the office. And we had 181 calls, 3 service calls. Our pump stations are all up and running. We're actually changing a pump in the Route 21 pump station right now. That's all I have to report. Anything else, guys?
Well, I'd just like to add to your report. I know you've been taking the lead as far as the Board of Supervisors, now that the authorities under our jurisdiction, just mentioning the manhole covers, finding manholes that we didn't even know was there. I think that that, as well as there's going to be some other things that we're going to be announcing later on that will, I think, prove and show to the public that it is a very good and worthwhile move by the supervisors taking over the operation and the control of the sewage operation of the township. I think we're doing some things just in a relatively short period of time. We took it over, I think, in January, February, and I think it's starting to show some benefits already. And I'm sure as time goes on, they're the ones where the doubting promises as to whether this was a good move or not. I think that they're going to be proven that they were wrong about this, and it's what it's going to do. It's going to result in benefiting our residents, saving money and doing a more efficient job, and also allowing and making sure that we have the capacity in which to allow the township to continue to grow.
I agree 100%. Thank you, sir. Mr. Vernon, you have anything?
Nothing else, nothing. Doing a fine job.
Thank you. Moving on to number 11. Consider a request for a reduction in the number of parking spaces required for the Dollar General store. What this is pertaining to, on Route 21, the dollar store is going to tear that building down and build a new building, and in turn they're going to make it a bigger building, and they're asking for a reduction in parking because they can't meet the requirements. We have Mr. Killinger here from K2 Engineering. You want to come up, Mr. Killinger, and fill us in?
Bob Kellinger from K2 Engineering, representing Mr. German, the property owner. As Mr. Scott said, the property owner intends to rip down the existing Dollar General, replace with a 10,000 square foot store. By that number, 8,500 square feet of that will be accessible by customers, and the South Union Township ordinance requires 46 parking stalls. By restrictions on the lot size and the slope of the lot, they're proposing only 32 parking stalls. The supporting document states that they're only going to have 2 employees on at a maximum on a shift. Of the 11,000 Dollar General stores in the United States, that typical store has 25 to 30. And the store owner in this specific case owns 30 Dollar Generals, and that's the average, and their average parking is 30. So we're asking the supervisor to consider the reduction to 32. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, this was actually brought in front of the Planning Commission earlier this week, and it was approved. Their recommendation was to approve it. And doing a little research myself, we do have stores in the area that only have 30 or less spots, and I believe, Bob, that the store now only has 15. So the store now only has 15 spaces, so we're still doubling the spaces, and I really don't see a problem with it. The chair would, and if no other questions, the chair would entertain a motion to consider a request for a reduction in the number of parking spaces required. It would go from, the required is 46 spaces to only 32 spaces that will be provided.
I'll move to approve reduction in parking spaces to 32 and 46 for that partial.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Vernon's motion.
Motion and a proper second. On the roll call, Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Killen. Number 12 is to advertise for 3,388 tons of super pave HMA wearing course for the Summer Road resurfacing project. Mr. Vernon, you've been heading this up.
Okay, every year we go through the township and we try to mark our roads, which went from the best down to the worst. And we're in that process going now. In our budget, we have approximately enough money, hopefully, to pay for 3,388 ton of amosite. So we're going to advertise now. We'll come out back in May and see what we can afford actually to pay. Hopefully, it'll be a lot better. Last year it was $94.50 per ton, and 10 years ago it was $34 a ton. So revenue goes down since the oil prices did go down. But we'll announce that in May's meeting what roads we're going to actually do and see what we can afford.
Hopefully we get some bids, because last year I think we had to rebid it because we only got one bid for the first project.
First time. And also, our 2014 grant money that it was supposed to be completed last November or December because of the weather, they could not get to it. In the next couple of weeks, we will be doing Michael Drive, Barton Mill Road, Schaefer's Corner, a half a township drive. It'll be from Sooner Road up to our railroad tracks. And I think that's all from there. That'd be about, that was at $94.50 a ton.
Yeah.
So hopefully we've been out, the new other roads will be a lot cheaper.
We would hope with the price of oil that came down almost half, so hopefully that would reflect the asphalt. Mr. Schiffbauer, you have anything to add?
Well, in addition to our regular amosite paving for the summer program, we're going to be trying something different that hasn't been used here in South Union Township. It's the method of recovering the roads using the tar and chip process. The township used to do that, what predates me. It's probably close to 45 to 50 years ago since the township. But because of the high price of amosite and the lack of state funds that we would like to have to pave the number of roads with the amosite, we have to look at other means in trying to continue to maintain our roads. And one of the ways to do this is using the tar and chipping process. PennDOT uses it, a lot of other municipalities. It tends to make your tax dollar go further in the repair of the roads and maintaining them. We will be announcing once we make a final agreement as to what roads and reach a final agreement with the company that we will be having do the work. We'll announce that at our next meeting, but we're probably close to close to 3 miles we'll be tarring and chipping during this season.
This is something that you've seen PennDOT doing more and more. I mean, I know just the road that I grew up on was never tarred and chipped till about 4 or 5 years ago. They started tarring and chipping it, and the road's really holding up. It definitely works. And the new methods that they use, you don't get as much gravel as you used to. It seems like now after they roll it and some cars start going on it, you don't get the gravel coming up 2 months later. So it definitely is something we need to look at, and I think it's going to be, the roads that we picked aren't real high, traffic areas. A couple of them are, but I think it's definitely going to save us in the long run, and it might extend the road for 5 or 6 years before we have to actually resurface it with asphalt. So.
You make a motion, I'll move to advertise for this 3,388 ton of super pave HMA wearing course.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Vernon's motion.
On the roll call, Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Motion carries. Number 13 on the agenda, comments from the public. Any comments from the public? Come on up to the podium.
You're tired of hearing me.
That's all right. No.
Report again. I noticed more and more now that we're kind of through the snow season, maybe.
Hopefully.
Particularly coming around the bypass, Palatine Road, headed toward the Walnut Road. There's an awful lot of trash along the highway.
Yeah.
Does the state highway department do anything to clean that up?
Unfortunately, don't worry about it. Just don't need the video. They do, but we were just talking about that today, and I can't understand why we can't get the prisoners from the county prison that are, low-level offenders to come out and pick trash up. I know I've talked to my fellow supervisors, and they said that that's been brought up in the past, and the county just doesn't have the money to bring them out and do it. But it just seems to me that there has to be something. I know in the township we do get some community service workers that we send out, and we have our guys picking trash up a lot. But it just, when you get up in that area, like you're saying, at the bypass and stuff, it's really not safe for our guys. We don't have the equipment to go out on the road like PennDOT does to be on those highways. But PennDOT does pick up, but it's far and few. I mean, it doesn't.
I mean, it's basically a through route for people going around in town and on to
I agree with you 100%.
It's really bad
I agree.
for the area.
Yeah.
If there were any kind of community volunteer thing, but I know it's dangerous too.
Right.
They call it the
Definitely contact PennDOT, and see what they tell you. But we're definitely in contact with them, and I know we've swept in Hopwood. The trash got so bad coming off the ramp there. We actually sent our sweeper truck a couple times last year to sweep up the trash. It's just the wind in Hopwood gets blown up, and we've actually picked it up a couple times. But definitely contact PennDOT, and the more people that contact them, the better off it is.
Okay.
So, all right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. Seaman?
Good evening, Steve Seaman, 5 Liberty Circle, Fairchance. I was here last month in March to discuss about the fence around the dumpsters. I'm hoping that this township board will start communicating, maybe get into a verbal or communicative type discussion so we can resolve this burden on small businesses.
We reviewed it, and we've actually given people plenty of time to come into compliance with the ordinance. And if you read our ordinance, we ask that you put your dumpster behind buildings. And specifically like your building, you're in a mixed-use neighborhood where you have houses right next to your business. And that's the reason the ordinance was created, was to, they're an eyesore. You know it as well as I do. They're an eyesore. And, like up by Target or Walmart, you expect to see a dumpster because it's a commercial area, and they're all in enclosures. And the ones that aren't got a letter just like, all the businesses that didn't, and we've gotten feedback from a couple of them that are going to come in, into compliance. But when you're in a mixed-use neighborhood like you are, I think it's needed. I mean, a lot of people were asking for it prior to me becoming a supervisor, and I know there's a lot out there that aren't in compliance yet. We know that, and we're trying to. We don't want to start citing people. We want to give them more time. We understand it's costly, but it's something that I think this ordinance was February 2013. So we're 3 years into it, and I think that's plenty of time to.
Well, I met with all three of you one time 2.5 years ago. And again, my concern is that I don't think it's necessary. It's a financial burden. Number two, as I discussed last meeting, if it's not a site leak dumpster, then you should call Advance and tell them to start painting their dumpsters, bring them up to code as well. And once you come up with your acoustical color that you want to choose from, I think will be beneficial to each neighbor and to ourselves. I just don't see why you put a fence around a dumpster. It's not going to move. It's not going to get blown away by the wind. It's more than heavy, as I mentioned. The three of you guys couldn't pick it up. Also, going for 2 feet above the dumpster lid, that's insane. Once that dumpster lid's up, and with the wind that we've had the last 3 months, if that lid happens to come down and hurt someone, then I become a liability for
But the
those people.
dumpster, the lid's supposed to be down all times, under the ordinance.
But you got to put the garbage in. You got to lift the
Then you
lid
have
up.
to put it back down, you're required to put it
Right,
back down.
that's what I'm saying. So if the lid's up, and you can't let it fold over behind the dumpster unless now you move your dumpster out another 4 or 5 feet, depending on the length of the dumpster, someone's going to get hurt. It's a guarantee. There's no trash being blown out of a dumpster. I've never seen that happen. And Mr. Warwick, Bernie, he had mentioned that the trash along the highway, that is an issue, and it doesn't come from a dumpster. I can guarantee you that. It comes from people that have those plastic containers of garbage, gets blown out on the road, or it gets knocked down during the middle of the night during a snowstorm.
I can assure you,
rainstorm.
South Union Township roads will be cleaned up. We do it every year, all year round we clean them up.
But
Our
it doesn't come
employees-
from a dumpster, though. That's what
No,
I'm saying.
but we do feel it's an eyesore, and I don't think it's that much. See, I've been in business, I've had a lot of businesses, and I don't think it'd be more than, if you could, you don't have to have a block building, if you can put a fence around it, a dogwood fence, or,
But-
it's about $300 at the most to have something like that put in.
I doubt that. I seriously
Well,
doubt
I know one of the person that did it, it's less than $300.
Well,
For the
if he
two-
did it on his own, perhaps, he
Yeah,
bought the
yeah,
materials.
yeah.
Well, everyone can't do that kind of work. And also, where's the hazard with the dumpster? I mean, why the fence? If someone doesn't like dumpster, then they should have it painted the color that they like. I don't see how it's an obstacle for people to look at it. It's no different than someone having a parked car in their yard and not have a license plate on it. Or they have piles of wood, or
Well,
they
in
have
South
piles
Union
of
Township,
something
we
we
else.
have an ordinance, and we go after people who have, if it's not licensed or have a temporary registration or inspection station, a sticker on it, we do go after them.
But the point of it is, it's a dumpster. That's all it is. It serves its purpose. You put garbage in it, and that's it. It's no more than that. It's not an automobile that has to be attractive to everyone.
Right.
And I think you're looking at it at a different direction than what a business person looks
Now,
at.
I think we're looking at like almost any other municipality the size of South Union Township. The makeup of this township compared to other townships is similar. They have ordinances just as we do. It's not like we're the only one that has it. We are conducting ourselves in a manner, I think, that is becoming a township our size, and especially with the type of businesses, and like Rick mentioned and Jason is, you have that incompatibility of a residential opposed to commercial. That's one of the main reasons why we have the dumpster ordinance.
In my particular instance, the neighbor is commercial as well as my property's commercial. So that house is commercial. But the point I'm trying to make is,
The house is residential. It's a residential house. If you're next door, it wouldn't be a commercial house. It's using it as a residential house.
it's commercial.
Under the law. Counselor, am I right? Am I wrong on that?
I mean, I'm not
The
exactly
property
sure.
might be commercial, but the house,
What's the house being used for?
Yeah, that's the
Residential?
it'd
question.
be residential.
Well, a house is usually residential. They
Yeah.
can maybe run a business out of the house if they get the
So-
variances.
So the point of it is, like Shop and Save, they have their dumpsters behind their building just like I do. And there's houses up on top. I can see it from the bank on Walnut Hill Road. You go to North, you say you're compatible with the other townships. North Union Township has no rulings on it. And they're larger than South Union Township.
That's North Union Township.
Right. But you guys said it was equal to other municipalities.
Well, looking beyond the boundaries of Uniontown.
And then Uniontown itself doesn't have a regulation.
Well,
Well, I wasn't here when the ordinance was adopted, but there was plenty of complaints, because I know
Many complaints.
one of the neighborhoods that my grandparents lived in was a major complaint, because there's an office in front of probably 40 houses, and the dumpster was sitting right where you pulled in.
I know the one you're referring to.
Right, and
And the reason for that was because he had a 2-yard dumpster. He should have probably had a 4-yard dumpster. And if he would have had the larger dumpster, then it wouldn't have been an issue. But I like to see the township become aware of this and also get into a discussion with small businesses. It's called communications. Instead of just mandating something that someone came up with.
Steve, we did have a hearing on this back in, this was passed actually in August. And we did have a hearing on it, it was advertised in the paper. We had a hearing before a meeting on it, and no one objected to it. I don't remember, 2013. It was passed in August the 7th of 2013. And we sent out, we're giving warnings out. We only decided maybe 1 or 2 people so far. We're trying to work for everybody, but we get complaints and we have to go back and check it. See, there is a dumpster there, so that's why we just sent out 10 or 12 letters just went out the other day on businesses.
yeah, we sent at least that many.
Yeah.
At least that many, and it results from complaints. I mean, that's where it came from.
What kind of a complaint?
People complaining that the site inside of the dumpsters.
Is it
I mean, they don't
being
want to
a
see
nice-
it.
being
Is
a
the
nice for
dumpster
also.
lid opened, or
They just don't want to see the dumpsters.
is there garbage bags around?
I wouldn't want to
Excuse
know.
me,
They
what did
just
you
don't.
just say?
They don't want to see the dumpsters. They
The
don't want the
dump-
debris blowing out of the dumpsters.
It's a fact, you need a dumpster.
wait, the dumpster ordinance is not just confined to building a fence around it. There's a lot of different things within that ordinance that are addressed beyond that. And
The only
that's
thing I'm
reason
here
why-
talking about is the fence. That's all I'm here talking about. I understand the other
We did
issues
amend
on
it, we
it.
amended to take the front off, so it'd be easy to get into and out.
Yeah.
We got complaints about, we put it through, we did, listen to our residents, they asked, some of them asked us to really look into, we did. And last year, we did amend it to delete the front for your
Right, we still require the 3 sides.
3 sides
Yeah.
required.
Again, I'm here only speaking about communications from the Township Supervisors to the small businesses. It would be nice that everyone gets a letter so we can have a discussion on it. All the small businesses don't have time to read every column in the newspaper to see what's going on at this particular organization. We're busy, just like everybody else. And it's, when you mandate something to someone, we should have a discussion about it, that's all.
I believe in 2013, our solicitor sent out letters, I have the letters back, a copy in my office, to every business in South Union that we knew of, that had a dumpster. I'm sure that I have the list of that.
And I met with you, all 3 of you, immediately after that.
I don't remember that. I remember you were talking about some
Yeah.
storm drains, but I don't remember the dumpster.
Yeah, the
right
dumpster
away.
as well. And
That's
Jason
all
was
alley.
supposed, your code enforcement officer was supposed to come out, and Jason and I talked about the storm drains,
Remember, I don't
which
know
is
nothing
not
about the,
completed yet.
anything about the garbage? I remember we met in my office about the
We're
storm
waiting for you
drains.
to submit the plan to us for the storm
We
drains.
will. We
Yeah,
just haven't
so-
gotten to it.
As soon as you get those plans submitted, we'd be right on it. We actually have the copy of the order from the judge about the improvements with the storm water that's supposed to be done. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah,
And we'd definitely help you on that.
good.
Yep. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Anyone else? Public comment? Thank you. Number 14, the financial statement. Mr. Treasurer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the month ending February 29th, 2016, our checking account balance is $336,054.01. Our general fund investment account is $389,000. $967.49. Our state fund is $376,989.88. The hydrant fund is $3,838.11. Our athletic fund is $4,430.59. And our North End and South End Intergovernmental Board Fund is $20,953.32 for a grand total of $1,132,233.40. Also now, we took over the sewage, so the sewage fund has a balance of $2,201,369.41 for a total, grand total with counting both of them, $3,333,602.81. That's the grand total we have on hand, counting the sewage and our township funds.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Number 15, motion to pay the current bills. Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, if you'd like me to, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to pay the following bills. From the North Union, South Union Intergovernmental Board Fund, $5,350. State Fund, $69,257.88. Athletic Fund, $3,430.91. Sewage Fund, $210,573.54. And from the General Fund, $261,555.03. That is my motion.
And I'll second Mr.
I
Schiffauer's
have a
motion.
motion and a proper second on the roll call. Mr. Schiffauer?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Yes. Motion carries. Solicitor?
I
Do you have anything, sir?
I have nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn at 4:42 p.m.
I'll move to adjourn at 4:42 p.m.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion for a second on the roll call. Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Yeah, I think so.
Huh?